Fuck, man. Y'all hear that fucking stupid beeping sound? Hold on. Guys, can you hear me? God, I have to max out the light to take out that beeping sound. Buddy, what are you doing? Yo, you gonna turn it down a bit? Jeez, what are you doing? You can chill here, but damn, that's a little loud. Wait, what the fuck? My camera's broken again? He just fixed it. He literally just fixed it. Uh-huh. Why is my quality bad on a professional camera? This doesn't make any sense. Does anyone know? Yo, turn it down, bro. Come on. What? Dude. Yo, how come I've got like one of the best cameras on the website? You know, I've asked everyone what their camera is. My camera ain't that good. Like it's a good camera, but like I don't know if it's that HD, dude. I don't like. What is going on? Does that make sense? Like, or maybe I'm just like, I don't know. I see other people and I guess their lighting makes their cameras look better. I have a good camera, but not the light. I have one light source. Oh. I don't know. Yeah, why are psychedelics so popular now? Like, it's in all media. They are trying to groom the next generation. Like, wait, as a therapist, do you have a lot of people who tell you about their psych use? They openly admit to it? What do they say? They say, oh, it changed my life, and same shit as Twitch?
I have so many clients with microdose. They just hear on Joe Rogan.
What is this microdose? This means like every other day?
No, they're always on.
They're always on?
Like waking hours. But they just like, I swear to God, they just listen to Joe. Now I know why the media is so afraid of people Joe. They're literal zombies.
Yeah. No, Joe Rogan can say jump off a cliff and people will be like, you know, he's onto something.
Yeah.
But the weird thing, dude,
Netflix is unwatchable.
dude, you know how I get spiteful sometimes and I'll double down on an argument? I got spiteful and doubled down on an argument that I actually believe in. Like, I said this. I literally said this, and I actually believe it after I said it.
Okay.
I would rather do crack a couple times than psychedelics a couple times. Would do you think you too?
Of course, yeah.
Do you know how the whole internet laughs at me when I say that? The whole internet, they're like, "You're fucking crazy," and I'm like, "Dude, there's something about psychedelics. I can't explain it. Where it's like." I wouldn't call crack mind altering. You can come back from it. A lot of people come back from crack.
It's not a psychedelic.
Yeah, it's not a psych. Yeah, and people hate me for that thing. Would you rather mega dose on shrooms or do crack?
Crack is gonna, you'll get addicted to it much easier.
Yeah, crack is more addictive. Yeah, yeah.
Psychedelics will ruin. You could literally have drug-induced psychosis. Imagine having a psychotic episode where you lose touch with reality.
You know Haas?
Yeah, he did. He
No, he said to this day, a shadow that he saw from shrooms is still in his vision in reality, like in his reality, something like that. I forgot what it's called.
Do you think Elon Musk actually banged the Google guy's wife?
No, he said on Twitter he didn't. He said it's fake news.
So he must not.
But then he called her Nicole. He said Nicole and I don't have a romantic. Why would you say her name? What the
They
fuck?
party together.
Oh, I mean they're all cucks at the
I think
top.
he actually did do it. Did you see his dad? Dating his stepbrother?
Really?
Yeah.
Where?
Dirty. It was like a dirty family. In South Africa. Yes.
Um,
He looks just like his dad too.
you know, someone the other.
He looks like kind of like
Turn it down.
guy who would do that to his friend.
The microphone's picking up. You know, my chat's like, Zherka, you're like an intelligent bouncer, but would you be like this if you didn't have a twin brother that's like a psychology guy? And I'm like, no, yeah, exactly. I said before psychology, when we were in grade 4, we would have conversations that were like not what fourth graders would have. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
That's why I like the Tate brothers, because they remind me, like, they have like a twin vibe, not a brother vibe. They have a twin kind of vibe. Huh?
How is that like abuse? Like take advantage?
Someone said, "Is Adderall a Satan drug?" Now, there's this guy named Greek who was gonna die of heart disease. He was very obese. He took Adderall, and it wipes out your diet or appetite, and that dopamine response increases that motivation. And he lost all the weight, and now he's like this Chad.
You lose any ability to self-regulate, right?
Right, but I'm saying, look at this.
Addiction,
But I'm saying, look at this. Why are drugs bad if the alternative was heart disease for him? Because think about it, food is a drug.
you know, my client.
Can you answer anything?
Yeah,
Holy
no, I'm
shit,
answering your
bro.
question. My client was telling me how he's like taking weed to ease his anxiety, and I'm like, no, like you
Slush
don't
my
do
food,
that.
bro. Slush my food, bro.
And he goes,
Slush my food, bro.
yeah,
Porn.
I'm not saying names. And he goes,
Mm-hmm.
ask me.
No, that's bad influence. What?
Anyways, fuck it.
Oh, Moonlish. Oh, right. Moonlish and Kosar's the. Bam.
Yeah,
Okay.
I know confidence.
Just like Dr. K. Whatever happened to that guy? Actually, can you come? Can you lay down on this side so we can actually hear? No, you're helping me, and I'm not coming to McDonald's then. Dude, come on. Don't be a hoe. Come on, dude. Nobody should have to beg for some fucking. It's not even help. Yeah, I don't have my. I'll give you a smoke if you answer some questions. Okay, guys, ask the biggest questions you can while we have him. This is the greatest therapist who he's actually against a lot of therapists. He says a lot of them are bad. Also, he says stop messaging him, right? If you contact him, he will. Yeah, yeah. Don't message him, all right? He's here. He's going to answer some questions. I don't know what background to add, but I guess the biggest difference from us is he's educated and I'm Google educated.
I'm a man of the people. Now give me a smoke.
Listen. With the fan, it makes sense, right? I used to do it without the fan.
You're gonna burn this house down. Open that
No, it's fine. All right, you know what? Fuck, their questions suck. I want to ask a question because I chilled with you once this summer. We went to the beach. Yeah, that's fine. All right, I guess my question to you would be,
remember how much we used to smoke when we go clubbing?
yeah, we used to be weird. I started smoking a lot again. Have you noticed?
Everything. My self-discipline is unreal. Everything. I don't drink. I don't smoke. I've never smoked weed.
No, you've been like this for like since MMA. You're disciplined.
Hey, how old's your audience? If there's one thing I could tell them, if you can get off the weed and that kind of stuff, your life exponentially improves.
Well, here's the thing.
And the amount of money you save.
Yeah. No, we just spoke about weed the other day, and it's so hard to where's
my microphone?
Where's your microphone? Do you want to be on camera?
No,
Okay, I'll raise the gain.
Step back from the gym.
Okay.
Can you hear me?
Yeah. All right. I would say this. Weed makes you a pussy. Because when I think of every time I used to smoke up, when life gave me shit, I felt like I deserved it. It was a more like taking it on the chin kind of attitude. And every stoner agrees, but they still smoke. Now, when I'm caffeinated, right, or sober and no weed, then every time a problem hits me, I hit it back. I go, what the fuck? Like, could you imagine if you're getting canceled as a stoner? You're frozen. But if you're getting canceled on some fake allegations and shit like that as a sober dude, you go, what the fuck is this shit? You know, you're ready for war.
Every time you take a drug or drink alcohol for anything that's not entirely social, you risk the chance of stunning your development. You stun your emotional development, your ability to overcome certain issues, whatever issue you're dealing with. and you're reinforcing a part of your brain that says, "Oh, look for substances, look for external ways to cope with whatever issue you're dealing with," thereby destroying a piece of your identity every time you smoke or drink or whatever. Does that make sense?
Destroying the strongest part of your
You destroy
identity,
the
the
part of
cope part.
You destroy the part of yourself that trusts in your ability to overcome issues.
Yeah.
Because now you've outsourced that work to weed.
Yeah.
When you start reinforcing those, we call them schemas, like belief systems. You start reinforcing this idea that there's something external that's going to help you. You've fucked yourself. So.
Oh, they can't even hear you.
Oh damn, that's fire.
All right, you know what? I'll just here. There's a chair right in the bathroom. Don't ask. Bring that chair from the bathroom. I'm gonna cut the camera. I'll cut the camera since.
It's my chair. Yo, is this mine?
I think so. Yeah.
Neighbors like this fucking too.
All right. Yeah, you wasted that whole sentence. Nobody heard anything. How should I title this? Talking to. I don't want to say brother. I'll say talking to my therapist live. Huh? I think I have. There's one beer left. I don't even drink beer. I'll have like a few sips and I'll just leave it alone. You know. But I like to have it in the house. I don't know why. Back of the fridge, I think. I keep it icy. Let me turn this thing here. Food is not a drug, John. Yes, it is. This is how you have to see it. Is the difference from a cokehead and an obese person? There is no difference, right? Because they're both trying to. He's saying food is not a drug. I'm saying an obese person and a guy who does cocaine, they're kind of both have the same issue. They have the same exact issue, right?
Yeah, of course.
Okay, get on the mic. You're not on cam. You can see the
Is
cam.
this good?
You can see the cam.
Yeah, I can see you. Turn it that way. I have to come all the way up to the mic to answer the question.
Yeah, you gotta hit yellow right here. Yellow.
Hello? Yeah, I'm not even close. Bring it. Move that screen over and bring the microphone over.
How do I move a screen over?
This way.
You can't. You can't. What are you doing?
Like that. And then this.
Just
Hello?
get close, man.
Hello?
I don't need to be on.
Hello, people.
All right. I guess
Oh,
the
wow,
first
this-
topic will be weed. Let's go into.
Yes.
What do you think of weed?
So what were we just talking about that nobody heard? I was saying that every time you smoke weed to deal with a problem, you reinforce a schema or a belief system.
On here, bro. Come on. Dude.
Okay, do I have to repeat it again for a
Yeah,
third time?
and you know what? I'm gonna go all the way back here. How about that? Sure.
What's this one?
Don't worry about that one. Let's go to the live.
You asked the question.
Oh, we got some people here.
You asked the
Let's go to
questions.
the live server and we'll pull them up. All right.
Basically, as far as just to close off the weed conversation, every time you smoke weed to deal with a problem, you're reinforcing a schema or a belief system that says
You're not on
the
the mic.
val-
bro.
fuck
You gotta
this,
be,
man.
You gotta be on the mic. Hit
right here.
No, hit yellow.
Hello?
Hit yellow.
Hello.
Yeah.
You have a neighbor that always complains to me because
if
you never.
hit yellow, you'll be fine.
Hello. Oh no, I can't yell like that. That's not my style.
All right. No, it is late, but
You know that our
you're
neighbor
on the
always.
side again.
How am I supposed to angle it?
Don't pull the wires.
There we go.
Don't fuck with those wires.
Okay, but now they can't hear you.
That's fine. All right. I guess I'll start. Okay. We'll get to weed and shit later, but I guess I would say the biggest problem I see in this degenerate, disgusting society would be a lack of confidence. And the way I've always seen it is confidence is kind of scarred into a man by trauma, right? But when I see Zoomers and millennials go through traumatic events, breakups, getting fired from their jobs, losing someone, whatever, it seems that they become weaker over 10 years, 5 years, whatever. And someone asked me the other day, is a routine crucial to a man? And I was like, of course it is. When you look at a depressed person, they don't even shower. Their routine is out the window. They don't even do the basics. They don't brush their teeth. They don't shower. They don't do anything. Right? But is a routine crucial for a man? Right? Because this is a boys' channel.
Yes, a routine is definitely crucial. If you think about what mental illness is, it tends to be behaviors. It ends up manifesting behaviorally at some point. And so the trick is, how do we undo those poor behaviors or non-behaviors if there's, if they become completely catatonic, right? Where they're not showering, they're not brushing their teeth, they're not doing anything like that. How do we reverse that? We start to implement a routine. Routine's also good because you can always use it as an external marker of where you are emotionally, where you are mentally, right? Maybe it's hard to identify that you're stressed, but it's very easy to identify that you've maybe you're not going to the gym as much, maybe you're not spending as much time with your friends. That could be a good indicator that something's gone wrong, that maybe you're more stressed out, you don't have the emotional resources.
Try not to do this. Do it
It's
on.
Impossible. It's
Yeah.
literally impossible.
All right.
Turn it like this way.
Here's my thing: is without a checklist, you're destined to fail. Right? Because when you start going on autopilot, and you're smashing your checklist on autopilot, that kind of just means you add to the checklist, right? But a lot of people can't do their checklist every day. If they have 4 things to do every day, they only do 2 of them, which is still good. But when you're having a good month, you're usually smashing your checklist of day-to-day things on autopilot, and then it's easy for you. But a lot of people stay in that loop, and I say if you're on autopilot, you have to add to the list, right? Because you're knocking it out of the park. Your time management is great. You're finishing everything.
Yeah, once you've automated certain things, you can move them away and start to focus on other things. What I've noticed just in my clinical experience is any list bigger than 5 items, you won't do it at all. It becomes too overwhelming.
Now 5 macro items or 5 why is 5 the number?
That's just what I've noticed in my experience. I think at over 4 or 5, it starts to feel like, there's this idea that you have to complete all of them. I've had people had lists of 25, 30. They never start. Of course, okay. I wouldn't either.
All right. Yeah, and sometimes 2 items is kind of retarded because the way I see, if you want to be a high functioning human, go look at presidents or let's say Vladimir Putin, Donald Trump. When you look at their schedule, did you know everything on their list is 15 minutes long? Everything they have to do in a day is only 15 minutes, right? Then they go on to the next thing, right? So each policy is 15 minutes plus all the background work of Congress and all that. But go look at the president's schedule. It's everything he's supposed to touch on is 15 minutes. And then for a big one where they get Chuck, Nancy Pelosi in a room, that will take hours, maybe days and weeks. But really, every day it's go look at a president's schedule. It's 15 minutes. And I'm like, how many things can you go through like that? Then I started thinking, wait a minute. Yeah, you can do a lot in 15 minutes if you're engaged, right?
No, you do anything. You cannot do anything in 15 minutes. It's impossible. You should devote some time to doing certain things. There are certain things that don't take more than 15 minutes. I don't think you need to do more than a 5-minute meditation, for example.
Well, but there's a lot on the president's plate, so obviously you can stretch it to an hour each item, right? Or how would you do it? Because you're always doing something productive.
Yeah. I just think about it from a counseling perspective. We have 50 minutes, and it takes dozens of sessions just to get into the meat of it. 50-minute sessions, imagine, weekly. And that's not enough time. So I can't imagine you're going to figure out how to fix the highways or whatever in 15 minutes. But they don't. I know they're not doing it. They just sign it, right? There's 1,000 other people working on it.
Okay, but So in a counseling session, it takes a couple sessions till they actually start being honest.
Mm.
Is that how it works? Like, because I know that when people get a therapist, there's a lot of blocking and deflection and what's that?
Yeah, so there's different types of like resistance and stuff like that. But for the most part, I feel like I'm thinking about my clients. When they come in, they have an idea about what it is, usually. And so it's just, sometimes you have to motivate them, get them to a place where they're ready to, hear certain things. I've had so many sessions where like we figure out the solution, it doesn't hit, and then 10, 15 sessions later we get to the same solution and it hits.
Okay.
It's so strange.
Does that make sense?
Yeah, that actually does make sense. Because I'm thinking
You have to be ready for it.
No, I'm thinking of in fitness, there's a diet you implement, it doesn't work. Then weeks later, when you adhere to the diet better, it does work.
Yeah,
And
because you're ready for it.
Yeah.
You're in a place where mentally, emotionally, physically, you're ready for it.
Yeah, and that's what's weird is if you're not ready to give up an addiction, nothing can save you. But it's weird, like, so your job is to like, can you know when someone's like ready or no? They just...
Yeah, of course. We there's different stages of preparation. Like we can assess for that. But counseling does also have what we call motivational interviewing, which is we're trying to increase the level of motivation in the client. So we first motivate them to get to a place where they're just talking about it. Let's just talk about the addiction, and maybe they're not in a place to fully accept it. At that point, what we do is we start to create cognitive dissonance. We start to, okay, this belief contradicts with this belief. This addiction is incompatible with the values that you have, that you say you have.
Give an example.
Basically, we're just trying to get them to a place where they're contradicting themselves, where they're saying, my drinking isn't a problem, for example, and then we point out all the ways that it has been a problem. When you create that cognitive dissonance, the brain doesn't like that. There's so much friction that either the belief disappears and the addiction kicks in harder, or the addiction starts to sort of get more accepted. There's more of an acceptance of the addiction, at which point then we can start to work on it.
Yeah. Okay, yeah, mods, can you guys give 7-day bans to anyone talking about anything not related to this? Right? Yeah, get the fuck out of here, bro. I get so derailed, bro. Right? One guy wrote, Jill is making a sandwich. Who gives a fuck? Right? It's not my sandwich. But hold on. Do you point out the contradictions or do you let them come to the conclusion? You'll point out and say, no, drinking's bad because of this.
So it depends where you are with the client. I mean, obviously, first couple sessions, you don't want to challenge the client because it might come off confrontational. Once you build the rapport, once you have a sense of trust with the client, and they're more likely to trust you even if you say something maybe more direct. At that point, maybe you can start to point out. And I tell my clients, I'm like, can I challenge you for a second? Because, you said this, but now I'm also hearing this. Like, how do you sort of reconcile those two ideas?
Oh, you actually give them a head?
Yeah, I tell them, yeah. I don't want to, my worst nightmare is to come off like that therapist who thinks they know everything. Like, I just got you. That's like the worst therapist. I would never go back to that person.
Those people exist?
Yeah, I had a therapist like that. He'd like trap you. And it's like, what the hell? Run this together. What's wrong with you?
Yeah, sorry, I can't even open chat because they're really pissing me off. Right? Fuck these guys. When I get derailed, I don't know what to do. You know what I mean? Do you know what I mean? Derailed. Yeah. And I don't see any chats that are like if I look here, someone will be like, "What's your shoe size?" I fucking hate that. I did sub mode only for weeks because I hated that. Right? It's just a fucking how you say, they think they're funny. Like they're like, oh, I'm gonna be a troll like Zherka. You're nothing like me. You're a fucking loser. You're a fucking loser, bro. You're not a troll. You're not a troll. If you were a troll, you'd go live. If you were a troll, you'd go live and make a fucking $1 trolling. You sit there and chat pretending to be me. No, fuck that little bitch. Fucking pissing me off. They derail podcasts to like lose 400 viewers, bro. They're fucking snakes like that. And mods don't do shit about derail. They sit there. guys, mods, fucking get strict. All right. And another thing, this community, stop trying to be me. If I put you on a fucking podcast, stop. What?
Here to fight your community.
No,
Come on.
okay, no, you're our guest. We don't usually do, guys. He's our guest. Come on, we got 1 hour. Let's do this. Okay, we're not fighting today. Anyways, okay, so I guess the biggest thing I see with Twitch, YouTube, and society, which is kind of all the same now, is what's up with all the beta male behavior, right? And I don't mean beta male as in like a little bitch. I mean like they're almost caricatures of beta males. Like they're proud and they're. Do you know what I mean by beta male? It's like constant, like people who just gave up on themselves. How do you build confidence?
Confidence is a characteristic of identity. So I work a lot with identity.
Oh,
right?
that's so big.
Yeah. So I have a lot of clients. Actually, most of the people I deal with have either. The idea is that if something traumatic had happened, there's a sense of a loss of identity, which can happen, right? I mean, if something extremely traumatic happens to you, you can imagine how you start to think, oh, everything that I worked on in myself, none of it meant shit. Something traumatic, something from the outside still penetrated that. So the idea is usually where there is a trauma, we're trying to reintegrate an identity. In some cases, we're trying to integrate identity for the first time. Man, you're so lost.
Yeah, no.
Should I go?
No. So I've actually never worded it like that, but yeah, confidence is identity. Like, what is a man without a black belt, right? He that black belt becomes who he is. It's the reason he walks upright. That's a great way to word it. Yeah.
Dude, honestly, man, like I've done my homework. I'm one of the highest ranked therapists, as you know. Clinic is doing great.
Ego.
No, I say this from a place of like, listen, you need to have a therapist who understands the psychology, the neuroscience of things. I went,
there's a lot of weird ones.
there's therapists out there saying you need to give yourself a hug. I swear to God.
Bullshit.
She said this therapist that I heard about through somebody else told their client to imagine paying $150 for and they tell you just need to give yourself a hug. I'm in there thinking like, okay, we need to integrate identity, we need to identify values, we need to create a life that's compatible with those values. Because
I'd rather have the hug, dude. Wait, how do you even give yourself a hug? Wait a minute. So, could you imagine when you hear you need to give yourself a hug, and then your PayPal is charged $150 fucking dollars?
I was so embarrassed to provide that kind of therapy. I was like, I'm definitely gonna be like the first intention of counseling is that you're just listening, right? That's the whole point, that you're an ear for somebody, you're a soundboard. But I was like, no, I want to know my shit. I want to know when a client comes up to me and sits down and says, hey, I've been struggling with depression, like what is it? I want to understand it spiritually.
What is depression?
Depression is a sense of feeling trapped. That's the best way I've heard it. The best way I've sort of interpreted from dealing with clients. And sometimes you can't even identify what's trapping you, limiting you, making you feel restricted. But if you can, and we've talked about this before, the control aspect, if you can reinstill a sense of control over your life, depression disappears. In most cases. Of course, there are some cases where there is a chemical imbalance and it's very, very difficult.
How rare are those chemical imbalances? Are they even worth mentioning, or are they like 0.001%?
No, there's definitely people. There are people that we've tried. No, because we have what's called the stress diathesis model. So it's this idea that diathesis, meaning predisposition, we're predisposed to maybe have lower levels of serotonin or dopamine or other monoamines. And so then it just becomes about, there's the diathesis, which is the predisposition, which is genetic. And then there's the stress component, which is the traumatic stressor. If it reaches a certain threshold, that predisposition will be activated. Dude, this is impossible. I feel like I'm talking to myself. John is on another planet.
I'm listening, dude. I'm listening. Now, when you say depression is like is the feeling of being trapped, right? Restricted and limited, right? Is there a way where people can cold turkey switch, or is it like baby steps and then build momentum? Because Andrew Tate, He says you snap and you change your brain.
It's the approach I take, which has been the most effective, which I'm working on my own theory of counseling, is what we call the compound effect. So the idea with depression is that there's a cycle, right? There's a certain type of thinking, that's the cognitive component, which is going to influence a certain type of behavior. If you have a negative thought, oh, I'm going to fail this test, the behavior that follows from that is that you won't study for the test.
Oh,
the consequence of that is that you fail the test. And then that reinforces the initial thought, oh, I'm going to fail, I'm stupid, I'm dumb. My question is, how do we break out of that cycle? How do we break the cycle? Do we start at the cognitive component to change the thinking? Do we start at the behavioral component where we start to incorporate what we call behavioral activation? And by the way, I'm using the jargon on purpose because I'm not doing counseling. I'm sort of explaining the thinking behind it.
We like footnotes and explained footnotes. But is it, when you hear those motivational guys say, just don't be depressed, just snap your fingers, and is it baby steps and build momentum, or is it like, has anyone ever cold turkeyed just changed their brain in a day? Because I would say that
unless it's a manic episode, I've never seen that. You have to compound small benefits.
Whoa. If it is a manic episode, it would be temporary, so it'd never happen, right? If it's mania, it's going to go away.
No, I'm just saying that's the only time we see switches like that. If I saw a switch like that, I would be concerned. I'm assessing for different things now.
What if they just accepted God in their heart? Boom, changed in a day.
No,
that doesn't.
That tends not to be like sustainable. But I like the idea of it. Like I just haven't seen it. It could exist.
I'm thinking of prisoners.
Honestly, I like the idea. So you and I think in a previous episode, John, we talked about the schema shifts, right? So there's this idea that when there is a trauma that happens, our beliefs about the world, about ourselves, about other people change. We start to think, instead of the world being predictable and fair, we start to see it as unpredictable, unfair. And then it would follow from that anxiety is the best response to that. If you think the world is unpredictable, it's unfair. A hypervigilance, like being very vigilant about what's happening around you, the expectation that something's about to happen, that's a very fair response to those types of beliefs. But just to go back to the prisoner thing, it's not crazy to think that, you could have a reverse trauma where you go to prison and then it sort of shifts your thinking entirely in that way. There's a schema shift towards spirituality. So
the prison would be, you wouldn't give it to the holy book. The lifestyle change where they're actually in a cage.
Yeah,
that's
the trauma of the cage. Yeah.
I never thought of it like that. Damn, you kind of debunking our whole spiritual thing we got going on.
From a psychic perspective.
Yeah. I mean, we're still right. There's still a God, but no, that's such a good one. That is such a good one. That is, I had this theory that most people who keep going back, criminals keep getting locked up, right? Usually if they have a felony, they keep going back in.
Which they do.
Yeah. But I had a theory that in their subconscious, they want the state to take care of them because they're out of control. So they keep doing things. They don't take let's say they're drug dealing, they don't take the easy way home. They go through the way with all the police and they risk it and they do a line. And
I like that. The idea that there's a sense of, there was a lack of authority in their lives. And now they've outsourced that to the state. Yeah, definitely.
Yeah. But that's so weird that
recidivism rates are
so I guess this experience humans have on Earth, most of it is just finding out, let's say the subconscious is an elephant, a mammoth, and you feed it peanuts to appease it, but eventually that mammoth will walk you into prison, right? If that's who you are. Most of our reality on Earth is understanding not who we are consciously, but stuff that we can't control, like our subconscious. Does that make sense?
Yeah, explain it again.
Like, a prisoner will eventually understand he wants to go back to prison, right? His subconscious wants him to go back, right? Doesn't that mean every human on Earth has to understand their deep subconscious thoughts, the reasons why they do things? Yeah.
So like I said, I'm working on my own theory just based on like what works best with my clients. I take notes like, okay, this worked. I'm going to apply it again. And it seems that, it seems I've so something that I've come to the realization of is that there has to be a congruence between the internal and the external. You as a person, the ego, which in psychology we just mean your sense of self. It has no negative connotation associated with it. Identity, yeah.
Okay.
Your sense of self has to match the values that you have to match with the life that you're living. When it isn't, that cognitive dissonance comes up. That's when anxiety. That's where anxiety follows. Depression.
When you say that your internal values have to match your external, you're saying if you're a vegan, you have to adhere to that lifestyle. You can't be if you're a vegan who eats meat every day, you're going to be very depressed.
Yeah, that's not a vegan. That's legit. Yeah, so if you have if your value system is, let's say, I'll tell you my values. For me, family is very important. So I'm willing to make more sacrifices for the family, even at my own expense, even though I recognize that risks the potential for codependency where, people start to become more reliant on me. But that's a value system that I've come to terms with, that I've said to myself, I'm willing to make more sacrifices for my family. So when I don't, when I do something that's not compatible, anti-family, something that's not compatible with those values, I immediately feel a sense of shame, right? Which is the most powerful emotion. You and I have talked about that quite often. Sense of shame, sense of guilt.
When I think of like the Zherkas, anytime we want to shame each other, whether it's our mom, dad, brother, we always go to, oh, you snaking the family. Like we use this family as this shame structure.
Collective, yeah.
Yeah. What about people who don't have family?
Yeah. Oh, so I was just talking about my value systems. Yeah. Okay. So the thing that
No.
The thing that
no. It can't be. The family cannot. No human is gonna say, oh, I have a different one than family. That's like a cop out.
There's tons of people who don't have haven't had the same family experience that you and I have had.
Right. But then those guys are lost.
No, they're not.
What the hell are you talking about? So people without family are lost.
No, there are some families that really don't have the person's best interest at heart, and in those cases, you are better off, starting. The answer is not to never have a family, but to put certain boundaries around your family.
I don't know. I see like people get yelled at by a boss that pays them $10 an hour and they deal with it, but then they can't get yelled at by their dad. Like what?
So actually the most powerful risk factor that I've found in my clinical experience has been social isolation. The sense of there's existential isolation or sense of loneliness is the most powerful, pervasive. It contributes to eating disorders, OCD, depression, anxiety, loss of self-esteem, loss of sense of identity, all these like crazy things. I'd never realized it. So that's the first thing I always say. How can we get you to feel connected to the world again? For somebody like you, John, who never leaves the house, doesn't it feel like the world is passing you by?
Yeah, the world can suck my dick. But wasn't I always out of the house working at clubs? I think those days are over, man.
Yeah. But you always refer back to them, which I find interesting.
Yeah, that's the only time I was alive.
I'm not talking about these guys.
No, that's the only time I'm alive. Or when people do hate threads on me, I feel alive. But yeah, I do always talk about the past. Yeah, I do.
Yeah.
It's bad.
Yeah.
Is it?
No, it's not bad.
Let's say it wasn't content and I was doing it offline. It's kind of bad.
Yeah, so
I remember in my day.
what I noticed is with attention spans going to shit, why is there such a thirst for podcasts? Because it is a remedy, not a remedy, it's sort of like a substitute for that sense of connection. You feel like you're part of them. I play podcasts when I'm driving just to ease that sense of, oh, I'm alone, you can get rid of it.
Yeah. No, people can't be alone, right? People can't even turn off their phones when they're asleep. They got to see it in the morning, I'd let mine die a lot. Have you noticed? I let my phone die all the time.
You're jaded.
I am jaded. What is the difference from a boy and a man? I would say just trauma.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think so. But so you're saying you can't be a man without trauma? You can, if you're the luckiest person in the world, you had no trauma, nothing.
You're born into a billionaire family. You're 30, 40, whatever. you're not a man. You're a pussy ass bitch. Like, how many rich kids do we know?
Nah, that's crazy.
A good argument.
No,
wow, good argument. That's crazy, bro.
I'm thinking
I'm
what.
so high, bro.
So you don't think you don't think somebody.
Look. When you think of just a man fighting the dragon of trauma, without that dragon, how do you define trauma? A life-changing event, something that changes your perspective forever, something that scars you forever, something you never fully heal from, but something that gives you building blocks or shatters you. The highest risk gamble. But a man has a dragon, and that dragon is trauma. Look at little boys, man. Come on. Little boys don't get their hearts broken. Little boys don't get fired from their dream jobs. Little boys don't deal with loss, right?
So, two things. So, first of all, trauma, the way we describe it is that there's a schema.
Friendly care package inbound.
Apex Jono donated $5. Ask about Maslow's hierarchy of needs. Is there truth in it, and can your brother break it down briefly?
And what?
In Maslow's
Do we have to answer that?
Yeah,
Maslow's hierarchy of needs is definitely like.
Is there truth to it?
Yeah, of course. The idea that you could focus on. The idea that I actually work with it quite a bit. Like, if a client is at a place where they don't have financial security, I don't even think about, how are we going to get this person to have, like, to connect to other people, like to improve their sense of self-esteem. I say, let's figure this problem out. We have to stabilize that first.
Actually, the number one advice I give when people are like, oh, I want a girlfriend, I go, are you broke? Like, I always think that you can't want the extras in life if you're broke, right?
I need to define one thing before we move on. Trauma, this is super important to know. Where there's trauma, we look for, the way we assess for trauma is not, the way the DSM requires like a threat on your life or something like that. Because I think it has like a very specific definition. The way we interpret it is if there's a schema shift. And you guys should all know the term schema. It's the most important word you'll learn.
Schema.
It's a belief system.
Right.
So if there's a belief system shift, if you have, just shut the fuck up for a second. If you have an experience, a negative experience, if you have a negative experience that shifts your belief systems in 3 dimensions with regard to yourself, to other people, and the future.
You're my
What?
therapist. You can't
No,
say
I'm not
shut
your
the fuck
therapist.
up.
No, I'm not.
Yes, you are.
I'm your brother.
No, you're my therapist, bro.
Shut the fuck
I'm
up.
paying you. Why don't you fucking say it again, bitch? Say it again. Say it again. See if I don't fucking light you up. All right, guys, listen.
He calls me to be on the show. He's like, come answer these questions because I'm out of content. I get on the show, and he won't let me fucking answer.
All right, answer this. You answer your fucking schema shit. Come on, schema, Andy. Tell us about it. Sorry.
Basically, where there's a schema shift, where there's a negative schema shift. So belief systems shift about your belief systems about yourself shift, your belief systems about other people shift, and your belief systems about the world shift or the future shift. So you start to lose trust in yourself. You start to become very suspicious of other people, and you start to expect the future is going to be very dangerous in some way. And so you develop anxiety as a way to respond to that, or you develop a sense of hypervigilance, very suspicious, maybe even bordering on paranoid.
Sometimes I think of like if you don't have a routine, right? If you don't have a system in your life, it's kind of like you're gambling. You know, when you're gambling, you're high anxiety, biting your nails. You don't know what's going to happen. You might lose it all. But now, if you have a game plan and you're cheating, at blackjack, you're cheating, the anxiety is low, right? And so cheating in life would be really preparing, right?
Well, anxiety by definition is a fear of the unknown, of the future.
Yellow when you talk, bro.
So I speak like this because also I speak to our neighbor every
just
every
don't hit it on the side. Hit it in the middle.
She,
Okay, here.
this lady.
Touch it with your lips.
Yeah,
With
get
your
the
lips.
fuck away from me. What was I saying? Anxiety. Anxiety is at its core an uncertainty, or in other words, a lack of control, or a feeling of a lack of control. So guess what the remedy or the antidote to anxiety is? Reintegrate a sense of control in your life. How to do that? That's what we talk about in counseling.
But then there's also like those cringe guys who are always they always gotta fade. They always clean up their mustache, and they gotta fucking. They always doing everything. They always fresh to death. They always got new kicks. They got everything, but they're broke. Like, what's up with that? Those guys got a routine and everything. Those guys never miss the gym. They do everything. They talking to the girl, but they're. What is up with that?
This is just in my personal experience. I've noticed that there's a deep sense of, well, maybe I shouldn't say this, but you would think that maybe they're worried about something. That, you know, if they're anything less than perfect beard, perfect clothes, that they won't be accepted.
Oh,
Like that, I just think of that as like a theoretical. Obviously, like the guy could just like fashion or whatever.
no. But there are guys with schedules, and they do everything right except the career part.
Yeah, dude. Yeah.
What's up with those guys?
We know someone like that who's like always like making memes to like market his like his business, like his fitness business. Zero clients. Like, dude, you're just having fun.
Yeah.
But anyways, I like whatever.
But pass me those cigarettes, okay? It's an oral fixation, right? I didn't get along with my mother, apparently. That's what my Freud says, right?
There's a sense of deprivation
Oh,
being breastfed.
like I didn't get enough milk.
You felt like you didn't.
I felt like I wanted more milk, and so now I have an oral.
Deprived from it. Now
Dude,
there's an
You know, I once said that oral fixation is like a cigarette or needing something in your mouth is you wanting mommy's milkers. And the 2,000 people in my chat laughed and called me a retard. And I'm like, chatters who don't have their life together calling Freud a retard.
No, it's,
Like-
that is okay. So there's this idea. We call it object relations. This idea that we have relationships with objects, and most of the time it's people, but you can have a relationship with a part of a person. So when you're like a baby, you have a relationship with just the breast of your mother. There's a relationship of like being fed, and so the idea in like psychoanalytic schools of thought is that it deprivate like a sense of feeling deprived, from being adequately fed, breastfed, then is manifests later in life as nail biting, smoking, overeating, drinking, all these things, and that's the oral fixation.
Now, what are the Freudian fixations? All of them, or the phases? The phases.
Phallic.
And which one's most important? Go.
I personally, I think it's oral, but a lot of people say that it's anal, like retentive or anal expulsive.
Explain that.
So there's a during like the potty training stage, there's an obsession with like defecation and stuff like that. And so if you're not properly potty trained, or if there's a sense of like hysteria that builds around it, the parents are like, oh my God, you have to go to the bathroom right now. The child internalizes that, and then as a reaction formation to go to the opposite extreme, as an adult, they become very anal, what we call anal retentive. So they become very clean, obsessively clean, things like that. It's a way to sort of compensate for that sense of a feeling of like disgust and dirtiness, and that was made big by their parents when they were kids.
Oh my God, that sounds like me. I've never in my life taken a shit where I didn't shower after. I've never taken a shit in a public toilet.
You've got all the fixations.
What's the other one?
Oral, anal, and phallic. Wait, phallic? Yeah, I think so.
Sorry about the blowing smoke in your face. Is phallic? What about for women? How would that work? How would phallic work for women?
It doesn't.
It doesn't? Is that where that penis envy comes in? Someone said that is a lie, Eden. Zakari, join voice chat and debate my brother, or we're permanently banning you for life. You have 10 seconds. He's calling you out on it.
What is it?
He's a feminist trying to stop Freudian.
Do you know what I find so crazy? When you say penis envy, everybody will say that's disgusting. Freud never meant it physiologically. He's a doctor. Of course, he's going to think about it from those terms, but he meant it symbolically. When you turn that definition and make it symbolic, all of a sudden every feminist is on your side, because every feminist recognizes that
Patriarchy.
Yeah, that's the patriarchy, right? Every feminist wants equality with men, right? So it's not penis envy. Don't think of it that. It's status envy. That men have that status that they make $1 for.
Easy, JP. I'm saying, Did Freud also talk about the penis is external, penetrating the world, and not being penetrated, and women envy that forward kind of?
Yeah. So he makes the argument about how like our personalities are manifestations of our physiology, like of our like what do they call it? Sex organ? No. Of our like penis and vagina. Yeah, sex organs. Yeah. Yeah, no fap, definitely.
What do you think of no fap?
It's
like
a
religion on.
yeah, very powerful. That those communities, going back to this idea of isolation and loneliness, if you can find a group of people who like support you.
I'd say no fap only works with a like if you have a career, because if you're no fapping and you just do nothing all day, that sounds like a serial killer, bro.
The problem with fapping is that it's literally it's like a drug, right? The porn that you watch on your phone or on your laptop, that's a drug. Every time you fap, you masturbate or watch porn, you're sending signals to your brain. You're reinforcing this idea that you're reinforcing this immediate gratification that actually puts you at risk for all other types of addictions as well, right? It puts you at risk for losing a sense of self-control, right?
Yeah.
Does that make sense?
Yeah. I mean, if you fap like 5 times in a day, how can you ever feel like you're in control, right?
From a psychological perspective, and pornography tends to come up with a lot of my younger male clients. I think it is something very common for our generation. I go straight to the root of it. There's a sense of loneliness, a sense of isolation. That's literally what porn is. That's the purpose that the porn and the masturbation is serving. It mimics, it substitutes, it recreates the sense of connection. It's a cheap connection, but it can kind of like scratches that itch just for the second, but the damage you're doing is profound.
Well, think that reward system you're talking about. Let's say you go play football, right? It feels good, kind of like the fapping. Why is that one better than fapping, right? Because let's say you're not a football player, right?
Let's say you're not a football player and
you're just playing for fun. Like you're just playing for fun, right? I guess that one's productive because it's building good character traits.
Well, first of all, that one's also releasing different neurotransmitters and like different chemicals like endorphins and things like that. Of course, with sports and things like that, there's a mindfulness component, right? Yeah. So you're focused on the moment. You're not thinking about the future when you're throwing a football. You're not thinking about like, yo, what do I have to do tomorrow? Hold on, I'm going to get to that. And also with sports, there's a mastery component which is very good for strengthening your sense of identity. You don't have that with pornography. Pornography is always porn. You think of it this way. I mean, how many people are still watching the same kind of porn they were watching 2 years ago, 3 years ago? Never, because you build a tolerance to it. It is an addiction like any other drug. Right.
I even say for the guys who don't let go of it, I'm like, don't ever leave that home page. But they always go deeper. They always leave the home page. They go deeper and deeper, right? Which is crazy because I guess there was like studies that show it's the same effects as heroin when you're watching porn, like in the brain. That's crazy, right? And why I think it's bad to waste the dopamine is apparently dopamine is the most effective tool at learning. That if you're interested in a subject, you're really engaged, right? But how interested in that subject would you be if you just fapped? Like if I'm reading philosophy and I just fapped, think about that.
Yeah. What's the question?
Like studies show that a fighter on Adderall learns fighting faster because of that dopamine, right? So if let's say you do cocaine and you're watching Game of Thrones, now you become a master at Game of Thrones. You remember everything, even with a drug that blurs your memory like cocaine. That dopamine makes you a master at the lore of Game of Thrones. It connects everything. You can explain Game of Thrones perfectly. Same with fighting. If you're an MMA guy, and the dopamine really makes you learn the fight game faster. Or studying for school. You see these guys on Adderall in law school, right?
Yeah, but you can't outsource the work. to porn. You can't outsource the work to Adderall, to psychedelics, to microdose. The microdosing thing drives me crazy. The psychedelics, it's like, hey, I know how we can stop addiction. Let's use a different drug. Like, how is that a solution? You're still
say it's not a drug.
but you're still reinforcing the same schemas. That there's nothing internally that will help you overcome it. There is something external. When you outsource that work, of course, then you become very susceptible to the external as well.
I'm curious because I always ask the psychedelic guys. I'm like, so God put you? They'll be like, oh, there's a magical force, and there's a creator, but we don't know. Blah blah blah. Like those LA girls. Like, I believe in a energy, right? Which is so cringe. But I would say, like, I would ask these psych heads. So God put you on Earth broken until you find a manure shit covered mushroom. Like, you need that to complete your development. That makes no sense.
Yeah, I don't know. You guys can probably tell I'm really like anti like drug, any drug. I ask. We used to do this when I was doing my practicum at an addictions clinic, as part of my master's program. I would watch like the head therapist there. And he just asked them, like, how much do you think you spend on weed? Or how much do you think you spend on alcohol this month? When they calculate those, and we not force them, but like we encourage them, like, no, like, honestly, like, how much do you think you spend per day? Okay, let's multiply that by 30, 31 days. When they get to that number, there's like something clicks in their head. They're like, wait, I spent $800 this month on weed?
No, hold on. Throw it my way. I would say the number right here, like, let's say the amount you spend on weed isn't even the scary part. It's all the hours you could have been working and making money while you were high. Yeah. That's the scary number, right? But nobody looks at time. Everyone just looks at money.
Or they never ask themselves, like, why am I, like, what? Okay, guys, to the however many people are watching this, the single most important question. This is free therapy, guys. Okay, it's not therapy. This is not therapy. You can do whatever you want to do. But the single most important question, I think this will save you a lot of sessions. And by the way, shop around for therapists. If your therapist is sounding like an idiot, they don't know what they're talking about, go to the next one. What the hell? I have so many clients who have come to me and they're like, oh yeah, my therapist sucked. I stayed with him for a year. It's like, how much money did you spend? Go to a good therapist. If you're a young person, I always say go to a young therapist. There's more of a connection there. But anyways, what was this? Oh yeah, the single most important.
A boomer would know more.
Honestly, there's a generational and a cultural divide between, and the divide between a boomer and a millennial. Forget Zoomer. Boomers and Zoomers are like on different planets, but even boomers and millennials, right? Yeah, it's just there's too much of a generational divide. They don't understand social media. Our generation is the first one to deal with social media. We're the pioneers for that. We don't know.
Some retard said self-advertising. He hasn't taken one person. I've tried to get you guys with him. He's full. He's booked up. It's not advertising, right? You wouldn't take these guys anyway. They're keck lords.
I'm not allowed to work with American clients. My insurance won't cover that. Okay. So I don't know what the fuck you guys are talking about. You have to get on a long wait list to see me. So yeah, it's not. Listen, the thing that I wanted to say earlier is the ultimate question in therapy. I've said this before on your show, but ask yourself, what purpose is this behavior serving? Why am I smoking weed? What purpose does this serve?
Well, just to get high and have fun.
No, that's not the truth. Be honest with yourself. Sorry, I should say be honest with yourself.
To run away from thoughts.
Okay, so what are those thoughts, and why do you need to run away from them?
I'm weak, and my father doesn't like me.
Mm-hmm. There we go.
My father's not proud of me. That's why I smoke weed, right? But when I'm high, I don't think of my father calling me a fucking Reddit loser.
But that's a very different response to, oh, I'm having fun, right?
Yeah.
And then that brings up a lot of questions. So
maybe watch some Hassan Piker to really get a grasp on the intellectual perspective.
I don't know what that is, but
You don't know who that is?
Dr. K. Is that
Yeah.
Dr. K?
Well, what's your thought on these people who say give yourself a hug? Can't they get sued? Right? Like how can you get away with saying to your client, sometimes you just need to give yourself a hug? I'd rather be told give yourself crack than that. That's crazy. I can't believe people are out there saying that. Any reading recommendations from your bro? Yeah, I think he likes The Art of War.
Like for counseling, for like psychology.
What do you read?
I don't read much these days. I read so much during school. I'm kind of like tapped out. I listen to a lot of podcasts, like psychology podcasts and stuff like that. The problem is that I haven't I watch like other therapists. I hear other things. I'm like, okay, you guys, they give the cookie cutter response. Write a journal, meditate. These things all great, but who is saying to their clients, your anxiety is stemming from the fact that the internal values you hold are not compatible with the life you're living. There's a sense of being trapped and restricted in that. Something needs to change. That is proper therapy. That's what I would be paying $150 for.
Yeah. So then you're right. Not even YouTube therapists say that.
They say meditate, write a journal.
Oh my God, I just realized yours is way easier to digest than fucking even Jordan Peterson. He goes the long route.
Like if I ask John, what values do you hold and how many of those values do you think are manifesting? Basically what I'm trying to say is that the internal experience you have has to be, like I said earlier, in congruence with the external. There has to be a reconciliation between those two worlds.
Would you say that most mental illness is the Holden Caulfield effect, where you're just a phony? Like if I value being a badass, I'm a badass, but I don't live like a badass, and I'm a pussy, then I'm doomed. I'm destined for depression. Mm-hmm. So it's what you're saying is most issues stem from phoniness, thinking you're a phony.
You don't actually have those values.
What?
But the point there is that you wouldn't. The idea is that you don't actually have those values. You think you have those values. That's somebody else's voice that's been internalized. Yeah. Because obviously, the life you're living is a very good indicator of what values you have. Does that make sense?
Yeah. Yeah, no, the fakest I ever feel is when I tell my chat, don't smoke.
You need to get the smoking in control.
And I stopped for a long time. That's crazy.
Anyways, guys, all right, 15 minutes and I'm gone.
Can you ask him if the values need to change or the lifestyle? At this point, lifestyle, I think he's saying lifestyle is downstream from your values.
Yes, there are a lot of people who actually do live a life that doesn't match their values. Like they think of themselves a certain way, but yeah, the way they allow people to speak to them is very differently, right? I always say your thinking perhaps needs to change. The way you interact with people perhaps needs to change, right? If you are going to, and some values are sort of universal. I try to instill in my clients, you need to value yourself. What does that look like? You need to put up boundaries that will prevent other people from sort of, getting through and making you do things at your own expense. Why are you doing things at your own expense? That's reinforcing a belief system that you are lower on the hierarchy. So set up some boundaries. That's very important. And start to compound small changes in your life that are going to move you closer towards your goal.
What if I don't know what my goal is?
Okay. So there is something to identify goals. We call it the miracle question. And maybe we could try it, John. How do you feel?
I feel good.
No, I'm just joking. How do you feel about trying the miracle question?
I'm down, yeah.
Okay, so the question, and you guys could all use this on yourselves too. The question is, if a miracle happened overnight tonight and it resolved all of your issues, what would tomorrow look like for you? What would be different? How would you wake up? What would you be feeling in the morning? Where would you go to work? Where would you be? Who would you be with?
Is it bad to say I'd just go live and still do the same thing? Like if I won the lottery today, I'd still go live. right? I need to expand my, because I think I need to expand my consciousness to the world. I need to be marked in history, right? So, yeah. If all my problems were fixed, I'd go live. I'd do the same thing I always do.
What would be different about your life if your problems were resolved tonight? Would you wake up in this bed in this house?
Damn, I don't know.
Where would you be living?
No. I think I'd be on the beach somewhere. I think I'd be ocean front. That would be great.
There you go.
And I think I would be doing more, like more, taking on more responsibilities, hiring professionals to always be around me, corporate professional, fighting professional, athletic strength and conditioning professional, right? I think I would just do everything I'm doing to the next level. That is interesting. So it's like if I won the lottery.
You keep saying lottery. Now I'm thinking it's like financial. Like that's what needs to change.
Well, yeah, to go to the next level is financial. I mean, you look at people like Andrew Tate. He can. Everyone who got a subscription, there should be 100 thank yous at CEO and CEO. Is that all you got? I mean, you transform to the highest level. I don't have a higher level transformation. When you go Ultra Instinct, I guess you're done. But is that all you got, right? And I guess he's valuing this. This is great. Like, maybe I'll get you some McDonald's tomorrow, right? Thank you for this session. So for that miracle question, because I kept going to money, it is money for me. Because when I think of like,
it's not money, it's security.
Yeah, it is security, right? Well, same thing, right? But I think of like it's so easy to go to the next level when you have money. There's that guy Andrew Tate. He paid a bunch of people $50 to make a TikTok about his clips, and no, he paid like 100,000 people that shit or something like that. To spread his message on the internet, which is a great game plan, but obviously you invest a lot of money in that marketing style, right? So, yeah. Only John would hire a Zherka cult member as his therapist. No, this is not someone from my Discord. What the fuck? No. He's just a man I met on the street. He needed a place to stay, and turns out he's based as fuck. I guess I would ask you. No. I guess I would ask you. Can you get Eden to talk to that one cuck who wants to be a streamer? The one whose girlfriend cheated on him? No, Sayla. No, I gave up on that guy. Right? That guy's a troll. I guess my question would be. I guess my question would be. I guess my. Is it better to be creative or disciplined? I would say discipline, right? Because it's always a mental health game. Like, would you rather be an artsy student or a fucking high functioning lawyer?
Yeah, I'm gonna go with discipline, because discipline is the only remedy to a lot of mental health issues. If you think about what depression is, what anxiety is, they require it's so paradoxical to think that these mental health issues can only be resolved by that by a different part of your brain. Like, it's you that has to engage in it, right? We recognize addiction as a disease, but we also recognize that the treatment, the cure for that disease is a sense of discipline, a sense of motivation to want to stop and get sober. So I'm going to go with the one that protects your mental health. Although creativity is kind of sick, like artsy. I'm surprised you say that, John, because you're an artist.
Yeah. I mean, a lot of philosophers have said that once you lose your sense of wonder and creativity, the death of your soul is next, right? That if you stop that creative process, you're stopping that innocent kind of childlike part of your brain. That neurogenesis happening starts to fade, right? And so, like a high functioning lawyer who's just all about, let's say, numbers and his clients, right? Let's say a high functioning lawyer who's never creative, he can also fall into despair very easily, right? So you would have to be what a disciplined creative person.
Yeah, it's both. It's
Yeah.
both, or
Well, how do you be creative?
What do you mean? From like a
Yeah, like a lot of artists, musicians, blah blah blah. They'll use weed or something to get a little more creative, and it does work sometimes. But like, how do you keep creative, right? And because to me, creative is curious about your work, right? Like if you're making a painting and you're not curious about that fucking painting,
Yeah.
you're doomed.
So I'm. This is just off the dome right now, but in my mind, what I think of is you have to drop the societal stuff, all the restrictions that society places on us. What Freud called the superego. If you can sort of push that away, because I think that's sort of what like you're saying, like drugs kind of do, right? You stop caring about what other people think, right? And I feel like that opens up a different part of your brain, and we can get into like the neuropsychology of it, but.
So that would be like you would be like you'd be sober, but you'd be high. Like when you're high, you don't care what society thinks. You have to master that in a sober version.
You have to remove all the walls that we put up as the all the different ways that society sort of socializes us. Like if you think about it, we're animals, but we also have no. But listen to me, we're animals in the sense that we have the id, what Freud would call the id, and everybody better know that shit. This is like basic Psych 101. Like the primal animal part of ourselves. Then we have the super ego, which is the opposite of that. It's the societal superstructures that we have. But imagine if you could find a way to tame that id without those sort of societal blocks or whatever.
But isn't it weird how now the societal push hookup culture onto us? That's kind of like pushing the id and that beastly nature back. It's like pumping it back into the masses.
Yeah, of course. This is the end of the West. That we're. This is it. This is it.
What if you live a life just for like Andrew Tate, just bitches and fucking partying and all that and discipline, but like let's say like a player. Can a player ever be can he ever be complete like a 40-year-old, let's say a 40-year-old guy who just has bitches? Cuz I always thought marriage would be the solution to that guy.
That's a good question. I don't know. What the hell? I don't know.
Yeah.
It probably doesn't work for everybody. I can't see you. For me, I'm like in a relationship. I'm planning on having a family, but I don't see it for you.
No, he's a globie. He's not a flat earther. He doesn't even look into that shit. He doesn't even let me talk about it. And I'm afraid to ask him because he might get up and leave. But do you know that the earth is flat? Oh, okay, never mind. Ask him if self is just an illusion.
John, what do you think?
Yeah. What did the Japanese had a saying? You have one mask that you don't take off ever to anyone, and it's who you are. Then you have another mask for your family and mask for friends and society, right? But yeah, there is.
I never understood the illusion thing.
I mean, if you think about it, right? We all walk around as phonies, and the people who are less phony, then we look up to those guys, right?
I never understood that question. The illusion. Like in the way I see it is like having a strong sense of self is the only buffer you can have against the outside world, a dangerous world.
Armor?
Yeah, it's sort of like an armor. We call it the inner citadel.
What?
The inner citadel.
Okay.
You have something to retreat to when things become very damaging. That's why I was mentioning when something traumatic happens, we lose our sense of self. We build an identity from the trauma. So what we try to do in therapy is how do we create a sense of continuity that goes back past the trauma?
So if I build up this identity with my family rings and I lose my grandmother, a piece of my identity is so cracked that I feel shook. I'm shook forever. It's not actually losing the grandmother, it's really losing a part of your life. Yeah, also grandmother, yeah, but right? It's like a warping of your reality that you can't handle.
Yeah, correct. That's why it's so dangerous, man. Like, you have to be very careful about, like...
Why should we judge a homeless guy if he, like, his whole family died and shit and he had the worst hand in life? He's been given the worst hand. I would be faster to say his mental health is strong that he didn't kill himself. Like, he lost everything.
Since becoming a counselor, I can't judge anybody for anything. And that's why, like, when I hear John, like, yo, fuck this guy, fuck that, yo, but, like, they're all pedophile, like, you, like, just say random shit, and I'm like, man, it's like, I can't, because I work with this day in, day out, where I see what's happening behind the scenes. You don't see what's happening behind the scenes, you just see the sort of...
Sometimes I wonder how dangerous empathy can be, because if I go to, let's say, a man named Tyrone, and I want advice from Tyrone. If Tyrone empathizes with me too much, he becomes human to me, and I'm scared because I'm damaged and human. But if he cannot empathize and just gives me badass advice, he's this iconic thing I'm striving to be. So sometimes I think empathy can weaken family and friends a lot. Because let's say your dad, if he's iconic, never cries, right? He'll do more for your mental health than... Right, but he would do more for my mental health being that iconic Superman than him empathizing and crying with me.
Of course. Yeah, well, there's like a place for both, right? Sometimes, like, you just... Look, if somebody empathizes with you, that's the deepest connection you can have. That expels that sense of isolation and loneliness that we talked about. But, on the other hand, yeah, if you have, like, some buffer against, the dangers of the world, and it's your father... That's very powerful. Not too many people have that. But then the question becomes, as you get older and your parents become frailer, which is, I think, a lot of us, and that image starts to crack, you become very exposed to the dangers of the world because now there's no protection. That's why a lot of people can't go past their parents. They can't go past their father. Subconsciously, they don't want to because that exposes them to it removes the barrier between them and the dangers of the world.
I'm kind of embarrassed. Let me un-VIP say, like, he thinks you're defending pedophiles, and that's so embarrassing. Usually the VIPs are smart. Sorry, dude. That is so embarrassing. Like, you don't even have to explain it. It's like my VIPs keep fucking saying weird shit. Fucking retard. No, I know. No, the guy just can't understand shit. He's an idiot. He's totally... All right, hold on. No, don't be turned off by that guy. Someone said, how do you deal with imposter syndrome?
Identity. I swear. Yeah, you have to have... Listen, you have to build up a sense of confidence and trust in yourself, right? And recognize that what is the worst case scenario? Really, what is the worst case scenario? And by the way, now I'm just kind of speaking more openly, but...
I would say the worst case scenario in today's day and age is not even being broke, but it's walking in and watching your wife getting fucked.
Yeah, facts.
Yeah, work the mic better. Yeah, he needs to really hit the middle of the base, the base of this mic. All right, what are the last questions before he goes? All right, I'm going to the beach. I'm going to go to the beach with him and his girlfriend tomorrow because he did this for me. So what are the last questions? I got you, bro. Now we're even. The root of depression for most men, he did say it's an identity thing, right? Yeah, I agree. Well, I'm not going to debate that.
Well, if I'm being honest, I think there has been sort of like a push to destroy the inherent identity we have in being men, right? Like, you remove men from their, like, duties as men, of course they're going to take away part of their identity. And of course that's going to... And then, of course, they feel guilt and shame for ever wanting forever like having any masculine sort of like personality traits. Like you're causing them to feel shameful for that. Of course, there's going to be a sense of listen. What is shame, John? Do you know what it is?
You go.
It's a feeling that there's a part of ourself that is unacceptable. So think about that. That's a very like powerful way to view it, right? There's a part of you that's unacceptable. How could you make peace with your identity if there's part of you that feels unacceptable?
Yeah. That's interesting because like masculinity would be such a big part of a boy's identity, and if they strip that, that's like 80% of who you are, or who you're trying to be. Pass me a cigarette. Appreciate the subscriptions and on. How do you get people to see the light? And I think he said that he's a soundboard to his clients, that they talk, and they eventually, cognitive dissonance, and then they eventually come to. Do they actually say, "Hey, I saw the light," or does it take a while?
I'll be honest, breakthroughs don't happen that often. Yeah, mostly, like I said, what we're trying to do is we're trying to compound small benefits. We're trying to break away from that symptom maintenance cycle. That's the term we use for it. By the way, I mention all these words, these terms, because I think you guys could then just go Google it.
Yeah. But for breakaways, is there relapses after what is that called? A break? Or breakthrough, yeah. Was there a relapse after most of the time?
The problem with addictions is that anytime something unexpected comes up, it's a high risk factor for relapse. Or in those cases, if there's a breakthrough, usually what happens, just sort of more theoretically now speaking, and I guess it just in the clients that I've worked with, there's a sense of complacency that comes up. And then, you let your guard down, and then you find yourself hanging out with people who drink, for example, and, from there it's a quick two-step to relapse.
Someone said, what's his take on your breakup? I don't know what he means by that. We didn't really break up. But, okay, let's go. Well, give me a better question. Sorry for these guys. Ask Eden if our values are inherent and universal, or if they come from our upbringing. He says it's both. Not a 50-50.
No, there are some. Everybody should value themselves. You should have a sense of respect and trust in yourself, and accepting that even if you have a sense of, you can make mistakes and there can be consequences for your actions, even if you trust yourself. So if you make a mistake, that's no reason for you to stop trusting yourself. It's reason for you to think about what caused you to make the mistake and fine tune it. Does that make sense? Yeah. All right.
I had one dude on Discord privately message me. I gotta lock that thing up, by the way. But he said, "Yo, John, how come after your breakup, you made all this money and did a 22, 30-hour stream? Why didn't you go through a grieving phase after your breakup?" And I'm like, "What are you, a pussy?" And then I realized when I was 20 years old, there was a grieving phases for. Really? I think you should just go back to work. I mean, my passion, I don't think I could ever be into a woman more than my life's work, because my life's work is right is my
so you value, and we were raised that way. That's one of those values that maybe aren't universal, but definitely in our family we've really valued work ethic. Calling somebody lazy, or like you were saying earlier, this is the biggest insult in our family. You'd get up, you'd work 90 hours a week just to make up to fix a reputation. But I forgot there's something I wanted to talk about.
You'll come to. No, I still remember. I was having a strong month on Twitch. It was like a $40,000 month, and I sent it to our dad, and he's like, "That's it." And I'm like, "Yo, this family is satanic, dude. I don't like this, bro. I want some positive reinforcement." But what do you think of army style shaming? You fat bitch, for someone trying to get in shape.
If I'm being honest, we just talked about it. Shame that's one of the most powerful human emotions we can experience. It's not good. You don't want to shame somebody. You don't want them to, like I said, why would you want them to feel like part of themselves is unacceptable?
You know why our dad pisses me off so much? It's when I told him how much money I made that month and I sent him the thing. He said, "I don't care about your dollar amount. Show me your hours." I was so ashamed because I was doing 30 fucking hour streams again and again, and I wasn't sleeping for a month. And he's like, "Show me your hours," and I'm like, "No, I'm not showing that part." Fuck, man. Like, he used to do that to our uncles too. When our uncles would make big bucks, he'd be like, "Show me how many jobs you got." Is shame required for growth?
Yeah, it can be.
Oh, good one. Can be.
Give me a better question.
Yeah, better questions, guys.
Let me end up strong. I remember what I was going to say. Something for you guys to take home. You need to address mental health issues that come up. You cannot suppress them. You cannot repress them. You can, you can only deflect them. And honestly, when you don't address them for a long time, they start to manifest physically. So if you start to notice like what we call psychosomatic symptoms, like the migraines, not being able to sleep, like grinding your teeth, like all these different things, that's a sign that the mental health issues have become so intense, so frequent, and so long lasting, which is what we always assess for: frequency, duration, and severity.
Whoa.
That,
There's a formula.
of course, brother. They're manifesting physically now, and so that's a symptom of a late stage, a more severe mental health issue.
Yeah, so they go through something bad and the frequency, what, triples?
Yeah, so the frequency goes up, the duration goes up, so it becomes longer lasting, and the severity tends to increase quite dramatically.
And severity would be like, let's say you go from biting nails to biting them till they bleed.
Yeah.
Okay, so that's like the intensity. Oh, wow, there's a formula. Damn, I got to write down these words because that's so much easier.
And no therapists know it.
Dude, there's so many online therapists who they don't even have one of these words. The way they do therapy is like, it's like they're winging it. They don't go back to their books. They don't. I guess there's a lot of professional athletic coaches who suck, who are like, yo, just do more push-ups. And I guess it's like that, like those coaches who suck.
No, like, technically we're getting to the same place. Do you know what I mean? Like, those therapists, they don't need to know all this. I like to know this because if I'm charging somebody that much money, I can't, like, I feel an immense amount of shame sitting there and just not having anything to say. I want to be able to
give yourself a hug.
Yeah, give yourself a pat on the back.
Can you ask him the correlation between dreams and mental health? Yeah, well, it wasn't my take. Yeah, Freud said the crazier and more wild the dream, the more it means something to you, right? But dreams are unfulfilled wishes, right?
Yeah. Yes, but also if you find you're having more dreams, that could be a sign that you're not getting enough stimulation in your day-to-day. So I'm of the mindset, there's a saying in counseling, everything is grist for the mill. I have no idea where it comes from, but it's just this idea that everything that we experience could tell us something. If there's a compensatory factor that's very heavily involved in the brain, in our psychology. And so if you're not receiving enough stimulation, first of all, porn becomes more, these sort of cheap substitutes become more enticing. Food, porn, from that dreaming perspective, maybe you're dreaming more. So, yeah.
When I'm have an extremely stimulating week, I can't remember one dream. Whoa, I never thought of it like that. Yeah, when I'm really killing it in life, there's very yeah. Oh my God, my dreams are so vivid when I'm depressed. Yo, what? I never looked at it like that. Oh my God, when I'm depressed, I want to sleep more to experience more of those dreams. Get more stimulation. Oh, wow. Oh, that is so brilliant. Oh, I never looked at it like that. Oh my God, when I'm depressed, I'd be like, can't wait for a nap. That's so true.
I'm just curious, in the 1 hour that we've spoken, this is probably like 10 sessions worth of material, because of course we're like, the therapist shouldn't be talking for we should be talking less than a third of the time.
Okay.
There's a lot of people who don't really know what counseling is, so they're kind of waiting on the therapist to explain things, but I will say, I hope you guys are able to take some of this stuff apply it to your own life, save yourself some money.
No, these guys are actually stupid because when they'll be like, "This is the best advice, Zherka," or "Your brother's giving gold. This is gold," but they won't write it down. And I always say, if you don't write something down you learned, you can only really know it at a superficial level, right? When I want to learn something, right? When I want to learn something, I write it down and draw a picture of it and draw everything that connects to it.
But obviously, this isn't like real therapy. This is just like theoretical psychological foundations. I'm just explaining the way things work.
Yeah.
So don't come after me if it doesn't work for you.
Have you noticed a lot of a man's problems can be solved by realizing learning is play, and learning, like when you're young, life is so awesome because you're stimulated and learning, and you're like, wow, Bill Nye. But when you're a man and you go, oh, I got to figure it out. Yeah, there's a meteorite. I got it. Blah, blah, blah. There's a meteorite coming to kill us all. Right? When you think you've got everything figured out, you start to become really stupid. Right? Do you know most philosophers, if you give them any crazy hypothetical, they never say, I wouldn't be in that situation. They always explore it. Yeah. But nowadays, if you say, what if your wife turned into a dragon while you're being a cuck? They'd be like, dragons aren't real, John. And I'm like, damn, that is very shallow thinking. That's why I really loved Haas, right? Haas was always exploring those. He was my best guest. Okay, what is your take on someone said medical disclaimer. I guess my final question to you would be what is fulfillment? Because when people say it's different for everyone, I disagree.
Fulfillment.
I'll go first.
Go ahead.
I'd say fulfillment is your craft that bounces against your family. So if I'm a professional boxer, my kid is going to be a professional boxer, right? So it's my craft bouncing against my DNA, my family. And how much, can you experience a better life than I'm a painter or I'm a musician and then my kid's a musician and I'm bouncing off my life's work, my life's experience against my own DNA?
Yeah, but that seems like really subjective. Okay, here's what I would say. If there's, and I'm going to go back to this because obviously this is one of the most profound things I discovered in counseling. If there's a sense of continuity, and if there's a between what you're experiencing internally and externally, that is the single most profound thing I've come across in my years of counseling. That there is a congruence and continuity between the internal and the external, because that's all we are. It's our sense of self living in this world or whatever it is, right? Having this experience. There has to be that continuity. You can't be living in a vacuum.
That's
and you can't have the world sort of imposing its will on you. So there's a balance there. I think when that continuity flows, when your internal is manifested externally in the life that you're living, that has to be fulfillment.
Yeah, I think that's why the best a man can feel is when a plan comes together. And I don't mean when a plan comes together perfectly, but when you're adapting on the fly, right? When you're winning, adapting on the fly. No, we're live on Twitch. Yeah, when a plan comes together, I'm going to stop eating meat, which is stupid, and you actually do it and you're smiling and never eating meat, you're really living at your highest frequency. How do you build stronger sense of self after trauma? I'd say sublimate. So a lot of people, what they do with their trauma is they make it their life's work. Let's say, have you seen those people who they get raped and then they make it their life's work to rape activism and how to prevent it? Those people, they have infinite fuel for their career. I wouldn't even call it a career because they're really getting paid in saving themselves from their. Well, they see every victim as their themselves when they were young, right? So that mission, right? Their life's work happens after that trauma, right? So sublimation would be the strongest tool to trauma.
Also, yeah, sublimation is really good, of course, but also you have to go back and how would I put this? There has to be a sense of continuity that exists prior to the trauma, right? So, like I mentioned earlier, there's this idea that when something traumatic happens, it feels like our life is starting from that trauma point.
you mean?
It feels like our life is
Paint a picture.
like if you, let's say, get into a car accident, and it's very traumatic for you.
But then
All
you
these,
invent the seat belt.
all the lessons. No, okay, but okay, hold on. All the lessons that you learn, all the like I said, all your schemas, all your belief systems shift to live in accordance with that idea of the trauma.
No, stop. There's a dude who he said, if life gives you lemons, do a lemonade. Look, not only did you butcher that fucking quote, you fucking idiot, look how he spelled lemons with 2 M's, and he started spelling lemons with an E, but lemonade, he made it limonade with an I. So it's like you had a piece of it correct, but for lemonade it changed. Tell me that guy, that man's hopeless. You got to admit, no one can save that guy. Even if he's ESL, he doesn't have, even if he's some ESL, he has no excuse because he started lemons with an E, right? I know he added an extra M. I'll forgive that. He's ESL. But if he started le and changed it lemonade with limonade, you know that guy has the worst DNA on earth. You know, it wouldn't be an ESL problem, right? There's no continuity between his lemon and lemonade. That guy is fucking hopeless. And he said, I know. Bad writing. Look how he wrote writing. WRIGHTING. This guy with the pink. Right here. Look at my mouth. That's hopeless, bro. This guy's hopeless. Oh my God, dude. I want this guy to write a whole essay. That would be the greatest fucking... Eden, how do I stop wanting people's approval and how do I stop acting on it? Yeah, when you want people's approval, it is, again, an identity issue, right? Because I don't think a doctor wants anyone at the bar's approval. He's a doctor.
Yeah, John, you're right. It's not, how would I put it? There's a lack of a sense of identity in yourself. And when I say identity, I mean you don't have a good foundation of your beliefs and your values. And so you become very susceptible, again, to the external. You become susceptible to the environment, it could include other people. If you have an idea about where your values are, where your boundaries are, what your struggles were, what your timeline is, where you see yourself in 5 years, you've checked off the past, the present, the future. You've checked off all these different areas, and then you have a sort of a cheat sheet to refer to. Oh, what do I care if this guy approves of me or not? I know that I'm living consistently with my values, for example.
I think the checklist is the most important thing. If you think of a man as just a surfer, right? Let's say you have 100-viewer shit stream, but you do it every day for years. You're just really waiting for opportunity, which is that wave that gets you to the higher viewer count. But now, if you're not streaming every day, that opportunity comes, you're gonna suck at streaming, right? So it's really just being upright on your surfboard and wait for your waves, right? If you're smart, you go to the waves. You know where opportunity is. But yeah.
Guys, here's a free thing you can try. Go on Google and search up a list of values. Go through the values, circle 15 values to start with, then prune it, bring it down to 10, and then ultimately bring it down to 5. Those are your core values. Ask yourself along the way, why did I drop this value for this value? I think that's a very powerful exercise. Then you have your values. You have a cheat sheet for what you'd have to sort of be doing to live your life, and to feel a sense of fulfillment. Believe me, when you started doing that, when you start taking a sense of pride, when you remove that element of shame, when these things come together, it's the most powerful thing, first of all, and second of all, it's going to act as a buffer against the traumas of the world. You have something internally to look at. If you are struggling with something traumatic that happened to you, you need to go back and assess whether there is a strong sense of self still, because trauma can destroy your sense of identity. It shifts it, like John said, the best term that you've said all night, it warps your reality. That's very powerful. I want to use that in session.
So that guy's so stupid. He said, "Find your values on Google." So stupid.
That's what I said.
No. He thinks you need Google to do this.
Oh.
Like, no.
It's easier to
Yeah, it's a lot easier. Yeah, he's an idiot. He's literally an idiot. Hey, I always say, if you show me your search history, I'll know who you are. If you're watching Minecraft all day, like, you better start a Minecraft channel. You know what I mean? If that's your passion or whatever. But
anyways, guys, basically, here's what I would do. How do I reintegrate a sense of control over my life? How do I build a routine that's gonna, if I start to fall off that routine, that would be a good indicator for me immediately that something's gone wrong. It's hard sometimes when the stress builds up over months. You can identify it, but you can say to yourself, I haven't been to the gym 3 times this week. I've eaten like shit 3 times, like whatever, 4 times this week. So routine, help reintegrate, or if you have to, create a sense of identity if you've never had one, and reintegrate control over your life.
I think, how reading and writing is like talked about as, oh, humans are really being developed because of these skills. There's nothing more powerful than writing. If you think of writing down, like, let's say 10 commandments, instead of that, let's say it's your routine, right? And you print it out and laminate it and put it on your wall. You cannot have a day where you're off that routine because it's plastered against your, it's on the fucking wall. No, you can have that day, but it's more likely you'll do it if it's on your wall, right? So you need to bounce the idea back and forth. And just kind of like learning stuff. When people learn stuff, apparently the more you touch the idea, it makes zigzag lines between understanding, right? In your brain, right? That you have to keep going back and forth. Yeah. So I like writing. Yeah. I like pictures too.
Yeah. Drawing, writing things out. Listen, you're always going to strengthen memories. You're always going to strengthen experiences if you can consolidate them in different parts of your brain. Add a visual component, add an auditory component, add a somatosensory, so like writing it out, like the act of like, using your hand to draw it out or write it out. So adding a somatosensory component, and incorporating an emotional component. That's going to help consolidate memories 1,000 times better.
Yeah. No, this is the first time in my life I'm actually reading books, doing audiobooks, listening to audiobooks, and doing stuff I never did in high school or even as a young adult. And I realized, damn, learning is so easy if you draw little comic books next to your footnotes. For me, the comic books really help, right? And
all right, we good?
I think we are good. Is there anything else, or end this stream off with one last one?
Are you finishing too?
Do you want me to finish?
No.
You want me to finish on you?
I've worked through it, so I can't. So writing stuff down, you're externalizing.
When you write stuff down, he's saying you externalize it. Oh, right, because
Friendly care package inbound.
I get that.
Nosferatu, you donated $5. Thank Eden for us and bring him back whenever he is able to. I would like to hear more of his knowledge and psychological takes.
Yeah, I never actually ask these kind of things when I have sessions with E, but man, I still remember when you told me, look at your analytics for when you smoke weed and you don't, and look at how much more money you're making when you don't smoke weed. And I never, ever smoked weed consistently ever again. I was like, wow, you're good at this. And you always spoke to me about money, because I didn't really, even when I quit smoking for like a year and a half, you were like, you'll stream better without it. You never said, oh, quit because it's unhealthy. You knew exactly what my psyche's about. Like, I was trying to fetch $1 in this. He should go on Joe Rogan. Yeah, no, him and my older brother are geniuses. Like, imagine if I couldn't bounce my ideas off you guys, I would be a caveman bouncer idiot, right?
This is like a nice space.
Yeah. No.
I'm gone.
Really, I'm just gonna wrap it up on my way, not yours. Okay. Believe in God, get the life experience, and then flex your Dragon Knight title. Right. When you're a Dragon Knight, doctor, lawyer, someone in the world, even Schopenhauer said, the last component of a man's true happiness and fulfillment is being famous for his craft. I never knew fame is, like when the whole tribe knows you are that blacksmith, you are that guy, or if you're Hassan, you're that 90-day fiance watcher on Twitch. That's what he does. Yeah. I'd love for you to talk to Hassan Piker. He's probably you would shock him because he says the fun.
I'll even talk to Dr. K. He sounds like an idiot.
Say it again.
No, is that rude?
Yeah, who cares?
No, I was just saying, like, Dr. K, I saw some of his shit. He's awful. He's so bad. Psychiatrist from Harvard.
Yeah.
Shows what they're teaching these days. That's crazy.
I don't
to
think
me.
he's a psychiatrist.
I don't know if it's like laziness or what is it.
He's not a psychiatrist.
He's a psychiatrist, isn't he? He's an MD. He's a doctor.
Oh my god.
Yeah.
Yeah, when I watch Dr. K's stuff, I never have like a profound moment. Like,
No, he like fights you. He's like, yeah, but you're thinking this, right? And she's like, no, I'm not thinking that. And he's like, yeah, but you want to think that, right?
can we do a video where you react to Dr. K?
Yeah.
Would you show your face too?
Yeah, if I'd like.
Yeah. All right. We should do a debunking Dr. K. Yeah, I think the best part of Dr. K is that he's cute. He's cute to talk to, so you feel comfortable.
I've never like seen that approach where you like.
Yeah, go ahead.
No, I was just saying like I've never seen that approach where he like is fighting the client to tell them what they think.
What do you mean?
I don't know. Like it's so There's a saying in counseling like, oh, we don't have answers, we only have questions. And he's like got all the answers. To me, that's just sounds like ego. It's just like, oh, like I'm gonna tell you what your problem is. And I don't know, it's a little bit. But I'm a hater.
No, when I watched Dr. K, my chat was convincing me to like him, and I bit my tongue for so long.
Where is he now?
And I don't know where he is now, but dude, there's people who said Dr. K is better than Jordan Peterson, and I was like, what? Because have you noticed for self-help, right? Jordan Peterson says dumb shit, but for self-help, he's pretty good.
Yeah.
He's really good.
I always say like, yeah, what, like politics aside and everything, like when he sticks to his craft, like he obviously knows his shit. That's a guy who like did the research. Who's,
Yeah.
I don't know.
No.
Anyways, guys, I'm gonna take off, guys. Have a good night and yeah.
Thank you for coming, and I'll see you at our McDonald's date, I guess. All right.
I'm just here to chill now.
Yeah, that's it, guys. I guess we'll try and do another one, but it would be funny reacting to Dr. K, because I guess what happens if your therapist cries in front of you? Is that, what do you think of that? You no comment? He's got no. If a therapist cried in front of me, I'd be like, "There's my coach." Right? It would be tough for me. Yeah.
Okay, last thing, but just imagine you're in the darkest place of your life and you go to, you put that last ounce of faith in a therapist and you show up and they start crying.
Jordan Peterson cried.
No, like I've gotten emotional, like some of the stuff that like my clients have told me, but I'd like to look away or something, and I usually am pretty good about like not, like I won't cry or anything like that, but it does like get you some of the stuff you hear.
No, that is the cutest thing, is that a lot of the clients for a therapist, for a good therapist, they see you guys as like superheroes, right? Yeah. So it's not good to your ego will like explode if you feel yours. Even doctors feel like superheroes, you know that? The way people talk to doctors, right? All right, thank you for coming. Ladies and gentlemen, that was Dr. K. That was Dr. Ketamine. Someone called Dr. K Dr. Ketamine in chat. You have no soul, dude. Don't ever insult Dr. K here. Okay? Dr. K gives great advice, like that thing he once said. You know the thing. What was that thing? If your brother's a superhero, you are a supervillain. Hey, I'll take that any day, as long as I'm someone, right? As long as I have identity, right? And identity. I'll take that any day. Any day. Right. Very good, he says. Right. Um. Oh, we have another question. All right. No. Question is, okay.
Can you pause that for a sec? Can you
Yeah.
unmute it?
That's Eden Zherka, ladies and gentlemen. You can. Are you on any platform or Google or anything? Yeah, you should be on.
I'm
Like,
on Twitter, but I have 0 followers.
he has 0 followers on Twitter. He doesn't take social media serious. But if you like his stuff, give him a 5-star on.
No,
No.
don't.
Okay, don't.
No, because that's only for like actual clients. So sell them that.
Oh, okay. I thought it was like you could do it on Linktree or what do you guys use? LinkedIn.
LinkedIn? No, can't do
What do you?
that. Don't.
I've never even Googled you, bro.
Dude, separately busy.
Okay, yeah, don't do it. Don't just leave him alone, guys, and don't email him. There's one guy who emailed. There's one guy who emailed him when he was on vacation in Europe, and he said, "I'm." He said he's like gave you a bunch of presents, wine, all that. That guy was so sweet. That was so sweet of him. Like he had a big basket when he came home. I was like, how come my people never give me a basket? You know? Yeah. Yeah. What is good? What is good toxicity in a relationship? Someone's asking. What the fuck? He has a great relationship. Mine's toxic. He's awesome, dude. Someone asked, when are you starting OnlyFans? When he gets some fans.
Do people have like professional OnlyFans?
No.
No, you like can't go on there and then.
Final question for your brother. Does he eat the box? I don't. Do you want to answer this?
No.
He says no comment.
Fuck that. The fuck?
You want to answer it?
He wants to know my fucking.
Yeah. Should I answer for you? Should I answer?
Never.
He said never.
No, never answer.
Never answer. He says never answer this question. He's fucking. He's saying, what are you guys asking?
You're like literally one word. You ruined my reputation.
They always ask the crazy shit. I can't have professionals on because of this chat. Right? We had a bunch of people who are like, I love you. I love your questions. But, dude, your chat, I can't come on.
I'll come on your show then if you guys have real questions.
Someone said, what does he think of crystallized IQ? Oh, my God. That's meth, bro. That's crystallized meth question.
No, I think he means like.
Someone said same laugh. Yeah, who copied who, though? Right? Is he a roundy? No comment. Ask your brother if he sees anything wrong with virtual streamers and people watching people pretend to be virtual characters. I don't think he knows what a VTuber is. Aztec says, love the Zerkas. It's funny because he's obsessed with Aztec culture. I'm more of a Mayan guy, but he loves it. Was it the Aztecs that had like this weapon that cuts a horse's head off clean? Yeah. Would you guys want to see us do a Age of Empires stream together? That's his favorite game, and Rome Total Wars. Because this computer... Can anyone help me download Age of Empires tonight? The first one. Because him and I, this is all we played growing up. We were obsessed. And we were so cheap. We'd make a long hallway of arrow shooting towers so no one could get in. Like, we broke the game, dude. And I think Age of Empires is in my top 3 best games of all time. What would you say? He loves Mario Kart too, and he loves Nintendo Switch. He's more a fucking zoomer. But Age of Empires was our obsession. Big Daddy type shit. Someone said, Desert Fox says, Rome Total War is shit. What do you think of that, though? It's got a cool name, Desert Fox. Yeah, he says you're a fucking loser. Rome Total War is good?
Rome Total War 2 is the greatest game.
He says Rome Total War 2 and you like AoE 3 too, right?
AoE 3 is phenomenal.
AO 3 sucks for me.
Naval stuff, like the ships. Just search it up, dude. Search up the water.
Yeah, let me put a react screen on. Come here.
No, I'm going to sleep.
Come here.
Yun,
I'm
Rome Total War, you're literally invading Europe. Like, who now?
all right. Come here. Let's react to some AOE. AOE 2 is like the worst one, right? Chad, how easy is it to get Age of Empires? I don't want no like the last guy who helped me download stuff literally gave me a virus. Like I got a feeling tonight's gonna be a cock night. Okay, Age of Empire 1. Let's try a review. Come here. I got it on the screen.
Hey, we're here with yet another episode of Before You Buy, that show where we give you some straight up gameplay and our thoughts on the latest games releasing. And today we're playing Age of Empires Definitive Edition. With this, the
Definitive
original
Edition?
classic Age of Empires gets a full remaster with
Holy
crisper, redone
shit.
4K
New-
visuals and the
new
like.
visuals.
This is very much still the classic and beloved real-time
Oh my
strategy game from
God.
1997.
Dude, they changed the water. They changed everything. I don't know. I like the nostalgic look better, but dude, this is new visuals. What the fuck?
Even though it's basically one of the few games from the era that pushed the genre forward, kind of like a fun hybrid between Civilization and the original Warcraft games. It sets you out as one of a few real-world early civilizations, and it's up to you to
I don't know
progress
if
through
I
the
like-
ages, building up your buildings, resources, armies,
No,
and
this is
then
pissing
go
me
out and conquer.
Bro, this is pissing me off. I want to play the original. I don't want to play definitive. What the fuck? Like, dude, keep the whole point is the nostalgia aspect. Oh my god, this is the greatest game ever made. Look, he made a hut. At Cuck's house. Dude, did you know these guys ruined the game? Do you know how professional Age of Empire gamers play it? They use they use houses as the wall in case the enemy comes. That's just like, dude, your people are unsafe. Shh. Oh my god, this game was good. And you know what's funny is to win the game, everyone needed a spiritual connection with a wonder. They needed a tower of worship or a temple. John Zherka, you're amazing, dude. What did I do? Yeah, I need to get this game, dude. This is crazy, dude. Let's skip it a bit. Let's go to the next stage. Oh, damn, dude. He's got the palm trees and he's got such a cozy... Look at the water. How is this game not popular anymore? Yeah, we did custom battle. Well, mostly we would play this mode. Yeah, let's go to Bronze Age or whatever. I don't even remember the game that much. Yeah, this guy got a nice area with the beach and everything. Yo, let's get this game, dude. Yeah. This is like the greatest RTS. Is it? Oh yeah, you mine this stone. Can you play this game on a MacBook? No, right? We'll get it on my computer. My computer can do anything. We can even get... Oh, yo, E, come here. E. Look at the new houses, the update. Don't you remember that? With the chimney? Wow. I don't know, dude. Oh yeah, you get to pick certain people. Wait, what the hell was that? For saving data? Oh yeah, this guy got fucked up by an animal probably. Oh, he's got stone. He's got everything. He's got such a good place to build with water. He just no. He just needs boats. Man, this guy got. Hold on, let's skip ahead. Yeah, I don't. They said no. Yeah, dude, we definitely need to. I wonder if we could battle each other. No, we used to like to work together as kids. And we had that tower defense set up so cheap. Okay, let's go to the next stage. Oh, he took down an elephant. Holy shit. Nice. Yeah, dude, this game is timeless. Oh, he's in the next stage. Look at this. How come he hasn't been attacked by the... Look how much of the map he discovered. This guy's a joke. He didn't have one scout, bro. His scout fucking saw the enemy and turned back. Like a pussy-ass reconnaissance. Okay. Oh, what the fuck? Hold on. Oh, he's going up. Is this Egyptians? Who else can you play as, chat? Be like Andrew Tate. Yeah, why don't you suck Andrew Tate's dick, you fucking bitch? Losers. Bald. God, so cringe. There's Vikings in this? This game was based. Right. I'd build a wall. I'm kidding. Oh, yeah, let's go. Are you sure these are Egyptian? Yeah, look at the stone tablets. Oh, archers. Get some archers in here. I'll tell him something. Please. Please. Yo, let me borrow your car. Thanks. Gotcha. Let's see him battle the others. Oh, there it is. It's kind of a small army. He'd do better with, oh no, that's pretty even. Yeah. Jeez, yeah. I like the archers. That's great. Fucking bitch trying to build. Get the fuck out of here. That's it. That's all she wrote. Wow. Oof. Oof. Yeah, we need our own tribe. flat earthers. The earth seems pretty flat here too. Very base. Thank you, Truth. Just message me on Discord. I think I'm gonna end stream. See the ending. He won. He literally won. Yeah, boys. Let me tell you something. We need to add at least once a week some gaming. All right. Appreciate you, Disastrous. I really wanna pipe. Hope this one was quality, guys. I think you should have learned something today, or else you're an idiot. Thanks for coming. Biatch! All right, who are we hosting?